Good morning, welcome back to the channel. Steve here. I got started yesterday on putting some bearings in. I guess I'm going to share some of that with y'all today. Just some do's and don'ts kind of things, okay? So, let's see. This is the apparatus I'm going to use to press my bearings in the wheels, okay? Because I don't know if I mentioned this before, but on a ceramic wheel bearing, they don't tolerate an abrupt, sharp side load very well. I hope that makes sense. You can't use the center race as any kind of a pressure point to install the bearing. If you try to whack it in with a hammer, the shock waves could chip and break the ceramic bearings inside, okay? So don't mistake these for not being strong. They are extremely strong, used in the context they're designed for, which is a load like this, okay? So just make sure that you're really careful, because these things are not cheap and you don't want to have to buy another one because you screwed it up putting it in. So I bought these little cheap, I got a whole set of them here. Seal and bushing driver set from Amazon. It's bearing race and seal and bush driver set. So it's come in handy. I actually used this one to press the big bearing in the sprocket carrier. I've used some of these before to press or, you know, in conjunction with this to drive some seals into some of these Sportster cases. So I've used them a few times. They're pretty handy. It was money well spent. I can't remember how much they cost. I couldn't imagine it was more than 30 bucks. So it's a good set of tools to have for next to nothing. So this is half 13 all thread. I've got two nuts jammed up right here. This is actually kind of bent and damaged right here. This is a tool that I had previously fabricated to collapse a shock on a some kind of soft tail that a friend of mine bought and wanted to change his spring on the shock or lower it or put a lowering kit in, and I had to take the spring off the shock. Bought the bike for his wife, and she had, you know, legs about yay long, so we needed to lower the bike. So I built this tool. Actually, I had two of these, right? And I don't know what I did with the other one, but I'm going to use this to press these bearings in these wheels. Hope that makes sense. All right, so I'm going to change angles here and see if I can demonstrate, at least on one wheel, how we install these bearings. Okay, so sit tight. Okay, hopefully I'm not in the way too much here. Let's see. All this junk laying here. All right, let's start with the front bearings. And they do differ front to back, age of the wheels, okay? So, just to make sure I'm verifying, I'm putting the right bearing in the right wheel. This is the front axle. It fits the bearing, okay? I know that goes there. So, set this stuff over here. I've selected this. This is the closest it comes to actually seating on the outside race. It's ample. It's enough. All right, we'll start with the front wheel. So this could be a little bit of an adventure here. So always fun, obviously. You want to wipe out the surface real good where the bearings are going to go. Obviously, you have to be very careful when you're working with a wheel that still has the rotor on it, which both of mine still have the rotor on them. You should take them off so you don't accidentally side load and bend them. But I'm being lazy. I'm not going to take them off. I'm just going to be careful. So the bearing that I want to put in, what I want to do here is I'm just going to put a tiny little bit of grease in here. Very thin film. It just helps the bearing slide a little bit better. Okay, there's lots of different ways of doing this. If a guy was so inclined, he could take this, you know, and kind of warm this up a little bit to help open the material a little bit, make the bearing easier to go in. But a little bit of grease will do the trick. All right, so let's flip this around here, because it's going to be a little uncomfortable, I think, but we'll make it. All right, so I got this plate is simply just a stop, right, for this, okay? And the hole's off to the side here. I really should drill something else in there, but this is what I'm gonna do. Okay, so we'll set it here like so. All right, now, next thing to go in is gonna be a bearing, right? Right there, sorry, got my hands in the way. This little mandrel here, okay. Let's see, I have a spacer here somewhere. Right there. We'll put a couple washers on there, and we'll put a nut on it. Now, the only reason I'm using this spacer is so I don't have to, one, run the nut all the way down into the pocket in the wheel trying to reach it. So this, I probably could use something a little less extreme, but this is what I'm gonna do. Okay, get a wrench on our bottom here, okay, and let me grab a block of wood or something here. Let's see what I do with all my wood. All right, make sure I don't set this on top of anything important over here. There we go. Give me some place to kind of support the wheel a little bit. I'm gonna get my wrench on the bottom, got the top, get this stuff all centered up as best you can, and you slowly start to tighten this thing. Okay, and then I can see already it's trying to go cockeyed, so I got to back it off a little bit and favor the other side just a little bit. Still going cockeyed. All right. Well, I'm glad you guys are getting to see this. So we will move our mandrel. I can't seem to get it to move over that way. There we go. All right. All right. Getting them started is the worst part. Once you get it to start straight, it ain't so bad, but yeah, and it's still crooked as all get out, so, all right, well, I didn't say this was perfect, but it's really about the only option I got. Without finding somebody with a gigantic press that can actually fit the wheel in there. it just seems to be going in one side and not the other, period. I can't, I don't know. I guess I just keep cranking on it till it pops and straightens up, which is not my favorite thing to do here, but okay, so biggest part of my initial problem is I'm using a piece of Delrin. It's cutting into this sideways is why I can't get my bearing to go in straight. So I switched to a steel socket, not as long as I would like, but I probably need to put a little something on these threads too to help with that pressure, side pressure on it. There we go. So the plastic was given and it wasn't allowing me to put the side pressure or put the pressure over to the side of the bearing like I wanted. So we'll try this and see if it straightens it up, because it is steel instead of plastic. All right, move her over here a little bit. Yeah, boy, that's okay. All right, it's starting to level out now. It's starting to level out somewhat. Well, not because it'll go real nice and easy once it's square in the bore. There it goes. Nice. Okay. So at this point, carefully line it up in the center of the bearing best we can. So it's pushing squarely all the way around. Come on. All right. Make sure I'm not catching on the hub of the wheel. Okay. All right. There it is. Okay. There it is. Okay, so you see it goes nice and easy once you're not fighting the thing being cockeyed. And then it just snugs up. Note to self, do not use a plastic spacer. All right, so let's get our contraption off of here real quick. Let me show you guys the seated okay. All right. contraption out of there. All right. There's that. Get that dude out of there. And there we go. I got our fully seated wheel bearing. Okay. Nice. All right, so the other side. The other side is gonna be a little bit more fun. So you have this this dude right here. It has to go in between the bearings to support them. Obviously, you want to clean it up a little bit. Get the junk out from the inside of it. I like to put a little bit of fresh grease in this down inside here for the axle, so you know you don't run into any future seizing issues. Just makes it easier to put the wheel together. It's a lot easier to get it in there when it's off the wheel. So okay, a little bit of grease in there. This drops in like so, and it's going to be captured by the other bearing. Okay, and again, I'm going to grease this pocket a little bit where this bearing goes, just a little bit, not real heavy, just a tiny little bit. Okay, and that's what you got going there. See your little bearing spacer. Okay, so now we got to put our contraption back in here, our homemade bearing press. Okay, and yeah, here's our other bearing. And again, you can't tap on this thing. You can't beat on it and stuff. What I can do, if I can find it here. There we go. I got a plastic pecker here. Try to maybe just on the outside race only. Do not hit the inside at all. Try to get that thing seated square where it's not cockeyed. Okay. Outside edge only. Do not even strike that with anything. Okay? That is not good. Put that in there. This guy back on here. I ought to use a taller socket, but be quite honest with you, I just don't have one. So, all right. I have plenty of 1/2-inch drive sockets, but they've all got some little detail inside of them that won't slip over this rod. So, come on, man. Ideally, I'd buy some aluminum material like this and make the spacers I need, but how often do you really change wheel bearings, man? I mean, really. All right, so I messed up by not putting my wrench back under here when I did this. Okay. Damn it. All right. You really need about 3 hands to do this, right? Now I'm going to go nice and easy at the beginning here to make sure that thing is seating squarely. You usually tell by feel. If it starts getting really hard, it's favoring one way over the other. I can move it here, give that a little nudge there, square it back up. Yeah, feeling some resistance. Yeah, I have to go this, bias it this way a little bit. There we go. Get that side down in there. Boy, I'll tell you what, it don't go square no matter what. And just remember, you cannot You cannot beat on these things with a hammer. It's just, that's a hard no. So, there it goes. All right, I'll get my tool squared back up. Okay. All right. And she just drives right on in there nice and easy. Once you got it straight, it goes real easy. And then you can feel that little bit of resistance there. And what I like to do at that point is you got to check that spacer and make sure it's in the middle where it should be. Test your axle and all that good stuff. If I had some more high-tech cameras, I'd get you straight up in the action there, but I don't. So this is what we're doing. Okay. Okay. Finished with that one. Put that back in the toolkit. There it is. Hope y'all can see. Got your little spacer in there. We'll take our axle, do a little test fit. Make sure we're all the way through. We're good. Well, that feels like butter. It's nice. Okay. So, that's basically how you install a set of wheel bearings. Now, this did have some outer dust covers. This may be an unpopular opinion, but these bearings are sealed. I'm not putting these on because all it is extra drag, okay? Seals against this deal right here, and it's just extra drag. This bike only operates in dry weather, okay? And not off-road. So these will be fine without this outer. At least in my opinion. Opinions may vary. Okay, so that in a nutshell is installing some ceramic wheel bearings with as much care as you possibly can. Hope that wasn't too boring. Hope it was helpful for, if it was helpful for at least one person, then I'll be happy. So, if you guys watching have any cool ideas of your own, ways of doing this. Now, keep in mind, what works on a steel bearing, because quite honestly, if I was knocking this steel bearing in the thing, I would take a big old damn socket and an extension and use a hammer and just drive it in there, okay? Because they'll survive it. That's usually what I do with a steel one. So, but if you got any tips or tricks that work, please share in the comments, so our other viewers can maybe learn something, you know, another perspective, a different angle, so to speak. And I think that's all we got for this video, guys. I want to say thanks for watching. I do appreciate the support, the views, the likes, the comments, the subscribers. We're slowly marching our way up the ladder, little by little. So, thanks again, guys, and have a good one.